Hi, my name is Karin and I run the Powderpuff Girls, a vintage-inspired company where you can have your very own makeup artist, hairstylist, manicurist or massage therapist to come to your own home, private events, parties, hen parties and corporate events where we can pamper your guests ready for your night out. So today we're going to be taking inspiration from the old Hollywood stars and mixing it with a slightly modern twist. So we will be working with Jess and turning her into an Audrey Hepburn with a slightly modern twist on the makeup. For this look, we're going to want the skin to be really nice and natural, but really glowing. So I've just got an illuminating product that works slightly as a primer as well. By putting it on underneath your foundation, it means that you're not going to end up with a really strong highlight as well. It looks much more natural. From here, we're going to move into doing the actual foundation. When applying this, I always hold the brush quite far down. It means that you get quite a nice bit of movement and you're not pushing into the skin too much. I think less is more with concealer. If you put too much on to start with, it can be a nightmare to take off. Even if you have a little bit too much at one point, just use your fingers because they actually have natural warmth in them and that's going to help to move some of the product so you're not left with too much. So while that settles in, we're going to be focusing more on the eyes for Jess because that was kind of more of an Audrey feel to it. So it's going to be coming with a really nice deep smokiness around the lash line and then moving out. But before that, we're going to be running a little bit of colour through the brows because Audrey was known for them. A lot of people find that they're sparser at the innermost corner and just at the top of the arch and the end. So you just really, to begin with, want to start following the natural direction of the hairs in small flicking motions. If you do the brows first, when there's still quite a neutral base on underneath, you don't go too strong with it. Okay, so moving on to the base for the eyes, I think it's always important to get something that's really, especially for smoky eyes, something that's really going to stick. Then you want to go in with a round brush so that it has a really nice soft hair. This one's Hourglass and it's one of the favourite ones. So using this, you can just scoop it across the eye and into the socket line. When I'm buffing this one in with the round brush, I'm always taking it kind of upwards and outwards. Because if you take it the other direction, you're just going to end up with a bulk of product right in the inner corner of the eye. Now, Audrey Hepburn would have kind of kept this smoky look, I would have said, more concentrated on the top. But since we're going to be putting a slightly modern twist on it, I'm going to take it out slightly so it's a little bit winged and a tiny bit under here, similar to kind of Jennifer Lawrence kind of look, which is very popular at the moment. I'm taking the same brush that I did the top section with, and I'm just going to use the end. When doing this, you want to try and get as close to the lash line as possible. A lot of the time it's quite nice just to put that little bit of a wing on the outside lashes, just so you can see the tips of them when the eye is open. It gives that nice wide-eyed appearance. The lip liners can look really, really strong when you buy them in shops because a lot of people will just test them on there and it's always going to look a lot deeper. But if you have to remember that your lip colour is completely different to the tone on your hand, so not to actually be quite scared of what could be determined as a nude colour. With lip liners, I always tend to kind of do the outside line, and then I will always kind of colour slightly inside of that as well, because it just means that when you put your lip colour on top, that there's no finish between the lipstick and the actual lip liner. Otherwise, you're kind of going to get a little bit, well, a much, much stronger look than I think you would have originally intended. These chubby sticks are great. A lot of different brands do them now, and it's always nice to kind of put these on top because you can get a nice matte appearance from some of them, or you can get kind of like a balm texture from them. So I'm just going to be running this across the top and it's going to blend. And then I always just tend to do one last buff with the brush from earlier that we did the foundation with. And then if you do like having the dewy skin look, you could actually leave this as it is now. Or because we're going for slightly more of the kind of Audrey Hepburn look, I'm just going to be going over it with translucent powder. Okay, so while we leave that powder to settle in, we're going to move on to the hairstyling. So we're going for quite a traditional Audrey. What you'll be doing, and there is quite a lot in this, is taking sections. You don't really want them any longer than the edge of your brush. And then you're just going to quite gently backcomb the hair and spray. So this look isn't particularly glamorous until it's finished. Okay, so to begin with, it's going to look pretty messy. So now, using this brush again, this is where a fair few people go wrong because they pull it straight through and that's going to take away all of the backcombing that you've just done. You just want to lightly pull it over the top section. Best way to keep this to hold is to have your first just going straight up into the hair. And you want to do this in a crisscross fashion. Same as what we did on the other side. Give it a look, because you want to make sure that even if you're going for bedhead, you still want it actually to be going in the same direction and for it to be clean. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the hair to the side, taking it in a kind of bunch and wrapping it. Taking some of these pins, these are the best ones for this, and I'm just going to say you kind of go with the hair, bring it back and in, so you're going in a round motion. And keep kind of wrapping it, so you're going in a circular motion. It depends on the length of the hair, of what you can manage with this part. And you're just going to make it so you've got a clean finish. So if you did want to go for a much more kind of tumbled out of bed look, once you've got this in, you can actually get your fingers into the scalp and move it around. But then once you've kind of got the shape that you want and kind of any extra texture in, hairspray again. You can never have enough of it, in my opinion. Then you'll have a modern day Audrey Hepburn and a little bit of Jennifer Lawrence in there.